He's been released upon the earth many times, not only once, but many times. Every time you see a new release of bloodshed, it's because this horse has been released to take peace from the earth in that geographical area. It has to happen by permission of heaven. I can remember when I was in Singapore and we were talking about going into Iraq. The church was going ballistic. Half the intercessors were saying, yes, 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 this is the Lord. The other half of the intercessors were saying, no, 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 this is not the Lord. And the church was divided, as was the nation. But I spent many, many days alone with the Lord, about 20 hours, maybe even more, I can't remember now, in prayer, but very little sleep, many hours a day, every day in prayer over the Iraq war. I went to Singapore to minister, and in one of the services, while I was in the service actually, I was taken up to heaven. And as I found myself in heaven, I found myself outside of a doorway. And I look, and the elders of heaven are coming down the corridor toward this door that I was standing by. I recognize them because I've seen them before, individually at different times in my Christian walk. And they prayed into this room. In this room were theater-type chairs set up. Well, not really chairs, but like, I don't know how to, like steps, but they were designed to sit on. So they filed in, sat down, and the last person who came was the Lord. He walked into the room, he stood at the podium, and he said to the elders, I've given you assignments to study certain aspects of the history of Iraq for the purpose of making the decision whether we are going to let America attack Iraq. What have you determined by your research? This elder said this elder said that, this elder added his piece, that elder added his piece, and they all had a piece to say about the research that they had done. And the Lord said, what is your decision? Should we allow America to attack Iraq? Is it time? Must judgment come? And the elders unanimously said, it is time. To that the Lord said, all right, let it be. And within moments, minutes, I don't know if it was even an hour, America attacked Iraq. But the decision to allow that was done in heaven. Nothing happens on the earth that is not, first of all, decided in heaven. It must be allowed in heaven first, before it occurs here. If this is true, then we know that nothing is beyond the Lord's notice regarding his church. If he knows that things are going to happen, certain things are going to happen, he has put out a plea into his church to arise and prepare yourself so that you're not taken by surprise, so that you can be strong in the difficulties, so that you can overcome in whatever transpires. He's a very merciful and loving God. When he starts warning us that difficult times are coming, that's not the time to stand back and just be fearful, which is what the church does. And after they move into fear, then they move into denial. God's not like that. He's not going to allow that to hurt us because we are his children, blah, 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 blah. You know, the same thing that they were saying in Israel, in Egypt. And guess what happened? They didn't purify themselves. They didn't call on the name of the Lord Jesus or on the name of the Father. And difficult things happened, and they weren't ready. His church, he wants ready. He doesn't want us to falter under the difficult times. He wants us to be strong and overcoming. Arise. Rise up and believe more of God than you've been willing to in the past. Now this angel, this red horse is coming to take peace from the earth. In the season of the Antichrist, he plays a significant role. He represents the ecclesiastical and the civil powers coming together. It is symbolic of the coming together of the geopolitical leader known as the Antichrist and the false prophet, who is the Pope of the Catholic Church. I want to share something with you. There's been a lot of controversy in the church over the years. Is the Pope the Antichrist? Is he the false prophet? What is he? Who is he? Who is the Antichrist? Who is the false prophet? Well, I don't know the name of the Antichrist, but I'm going to tell you something I've never shared from the pulpit before. The Antichrist was born, he is alive, and he was born a citizen of Rome. The Pope is the false prophet, but it is not the Pope that we see today. He is the ceremonial Pope. The Pope that will be the false prophet. If you go to Italy, the Italian church will tell you that the last Pope will be the false prophet, and he is known as the Black Pope. In reality, there really is a Black Pope, and has been a Black Pope for several hundred years. Ignatius Loyola was the first Black Pope. He was the head of the Jesuit movement, and the Jesuit movement is still under the auspices of the Black Pope. So there is a Black Pope. He is probably more true the Pope of Rome. The Pope that everyone sees, as I said, is more a ceremonial Pope, and he's not so much the one that makes the decisions as the one that implements the decisions that are made. Whereas the Black Pope has a power in the Catholic Church that only those who are taught so know and understand. The two are working together, the Catholic Church and the geopolitical leader known as the Antichrist. The Antichrist is hidden in the background right now, working with leaders, pulling together the one world government. We see it coming together so beautifully. I've got to believe that he is so pleased with himself, thinking that he has pulled everything together faster than he thought he would. The leaders of Europe are just folding right into his plans. There are a few countries in Europe that are not in agreement, that are withstanding what is going on over there. Those countries need to be prayed for. We need to pray that God will continue lifting up nations that will not respond to this call to enter into the New World Order. If this movement accomplishes what it wants to accomplish and it pulls it together by 2012, I could tell you that that would be premature. That is not God's time. Could they pull it together by 2012? Yes. Everything is in order pretty much already. The only thing that we're lacking, really, is the temple in Israel. Could they pull it together by 2012?